Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to this week's edition of the Let's Talk Tuesdays podcast. My name is Brendan Plays. This is the show where we answer all of your questions that you send in every single week on the Brendan Plays forums at brendanplays.com/forums, which is, by the way, back up and running. Thank God. We'll talk more about that later. You can also leave a question at the Facebook page. Brendan Plays Official is the link. It is in the description below. And, of course, in the YouTube comment section or by a voicemail on the website as well. Well, what a busy day. Today was very tiring. I've had little to no sleep today, and I've done a lot of things. Like, today is probably like the busiest day I've had in this year. I don't know. It's been a long, well, not quite this year, but like in the last month or two. You know, I did so many things today. I've been, non-stop doing something. So, yeah, pretty busy day, pretty good day. You're going to see all of my day because I've decided I think it's time I might start doing a vlog. Doing some vlogs here and there when I'm doing stuff, because I don't really do too much. I'm pretty, I stay at home and just chill a lot, and that's really not interesting. But when I have things to do, then I'll definitely vlog that. But so today, obviously, I did a lot of things. So I'm thinking of doing some vlogs. So I'm currently have one pretty much ready to go. I don't know how you guys are going to respond. I think vlogging is something that obviously a lot of people are doing now, very popular. It's something that I've actually grown very interested in. I think probably a year ago, I wasn't really interested at all, ever, in vlogging. And I didn't really watch any vlogging videos. But recently, I've just been watching vlogs. I don't know. I just kind of had this, recent urge to kind of do it. I've always been a little camera shy throughout my whole life. I'm not very comfortable on the camera yet, which you'll probably notice throughout my vlogs. I'm not quite there yet. I have been, today, for example, I was around in the public, kind of filming a little bit around, but, most of it was more, just me, and maybe some people around, but not too many. So I kind of felt a little bit more comfortable today, but, yeah, I'm definitely very camera shy, and obviously haven't done the face reveal on the YouTube, whatever, but you guys see me on Twitch all the time if you check out the stream. So I don't think it's really a big deal. I think, a lot of people have been wanting me to do the face reveal and everything like that. I don't think it's really much a big of a deal. So if I just do the vlogs, just kind of start it up, just do some of it, and get you guys a little bit more insight of what I do in my day or my week or whatever, what I, do, and I think that'd be something that you guys would definitely enjoy. So the first one, well, perhaps the first and only one, I don't know. It depends how it goes. If you guys like it, I'll keep doing it. If not, well, I'll forget about it. But, so the first one is probably going to be up today or tomorrow, sometime very, very soon. And I think I might be recording another one tomorrow. So we've got a few things we're going to do tomorrow. And, so it should be a lot of fun. So that's a different little thing I'm going to trial. It's going to be all on my same channel. I'm not going to make a new channel for it because it just won't be active enough. So, and I want to keep everything on the same channel. And, so the vlogs are going to be something I'm going to trial. I know I haven't done a Universe Mode video for a few days. I just haven't had the urge to kind of do one. I just been very tired in the last few days, so like Universe Mode just is quite exhausting to do. So I need to kind of get that sorted. I have a lot of assignments and things like that. So Universe Mode videos are going to be a little bit few and far in between in the next couple of weeks. So if you are a big fan of the Universe Mode stuff, which most of you hopefully are, expect a few less than usual. For the Universe Mode stuff, probably a couple, maybe 3 times a week. Normally I've been going a little bit nearly daily as of late, so that's definitely not going to happen. So, so the next month of Universe Mode might be a little bit slower because I've got a lot of things coming up, but I'll try and replace that with a few other things, like do the other series such as the GM Mode stuff. That takes a lot less time to kind of record and get everything together, and I can kind of get them more done and kind of just, focus my time on doing that. Because, I've got an assignment due on Friday, and I haven't started. I had an exam today, which you'll hear all about in the vlog. But, so I got an assignment due on Friday, so I'm going to have to try and, get things done. And 2 assignments due next week. And then after that, after the 20th of May, I'll be all sweet. So all sweet until around about my birthday time, which is the middle of June. So I've got a few weeks off there, so we can kind of focus on really getting through Universe Mode. And probably, maybe I'll even try and, make it up for you guys and kind of, do the double uploads every day or something like that. Like, really go on the grind and really try and increase the amount of content I'm going to be doing. So whilst I have the chance to do it, so that's something I might plan on doing. But obviously the next couple of weeks, the content is going to be a little bit less because of the assignments, and I got to get my actual job commitments out of the way. I'm a student, so I got to get that stuff done and dusted. And so my exam today was terrible. I actually failed my exam today, so I need to kind of like sort my shit and start stepping up my game. So I've been very busy. Obviously the forums breaking down throughout the week was a very depressing, very frustrating experience. I had a lot of people very disappointed that the forums were not available to use, which is flattering and also annoying at the same time. I had a lot of tweets saying, "Oh wow, where's the forums? Hurry up and get it online." I even had people were telling me like, "Oh Brendan, why are you playing PlayStation? You should be trying to get the forums online." Reading stuff like that was really that just kind of pissed me off. So the whole last week was a pretty shitty week, but the last few days, everything's kind of worked out. Like I said, I had my exam approved, had the exam. Didn't go well, but at least I got to do it. And, I got one of my assignments done. Did I say that? On Friday, what happened was that I was last Thursday, sorry. So what happens was, I was kind of checking the dates of when some of my assignments are going to be due in the next few weeks, and I stumbled across an assignment that I had no idea about, and I was freaking out because I thought the date was actually May 10th because my exam was May 10th. So in my mind, I kept thinking May 10th is as the date, but it was May 5th. So I'm thinking of my assignments, I've missed it. My assignment was due May 6th, and I just happened to randomly check this on that day. It could have been any other day, and I would have missed that assignment. I would not have done that. So I checked it. I thought I missed it. I looked at the date again and kind of wiped my eyes a little bit, just had a better look at it and went, oh my God, thank God I have a day to get a 2,000-word essay done, which was, easy to do. So I got that done, and that was a weight off my shoulders, but very stressful few days it was. So everything's kind of worked out now. The last couple of days have been good. But today, very, very tiring, but very busy at the same time. And I'm working on that setup video. A lot of you guys have been wanting me to do the setup video, so I'm very much so working on that right now. And that could be up sometime next week. Maybe to celebrate 40k. We also celebrated 2 years of the forums this week. Unfortunately, the forums were down on the day that the anniversary came along. But 2 years of the forums. So, which is basically over 2 years of the website now. So, that's very crazy that it's been 2 years since I made the forums. It felt like yesterday that I made them. So, it's a lot of work, a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of dedication. Because I made the whole website, all the forums, everything by myself. So, I've got a lot to be proud of. I did a lot of work on that. And to anyone who has been on the forums, whether you went on once, whether you're a long-time member, I thank you for all of your support. And hopefully we see you on the forums more. We had a whole new upgrade on the forums this week as well. So the forums got a different look to it. A lot of new features, a lot of great, really, really great new features. So the forums has been revamped, and upgraded, and looks fantastic. I love it. I really love all the new stuff. I know some people were like, well, I missed the old one, but this one is so much better, and it's incredible. So certainly for me, it has so many great new features for me. So we had a bad week last week, but in the end, a week later, all is well. All is well. We just have to start cracking down, getting the assignments done. 3 assignments due in the next, just over a week. So it's, that's a lot actually. That's actually a lot, and they're all 2,000 words plus each. So, oh shit, I better start working on that. I better get this podcast done and start working on my assignments. I'm kidding, but so a good week in the end. Now, I will say for this week's podcast, the wrestling side of things, the news is going to be a little bit light. I fell asleep watching Raw this week, but I did watch it all. Not a lot really happened, not a lot to really say, but we'll cover all the little things that happened on Raw. Really, the main thing that happened this week was the releases of an 8 WWE superstars, some former, some barely constitute the word, but so 8 superstars and divas have been gone in some capacity. So that's been the big news this week. We'll get straight into it. I know everyone's kind of covered it on other shows and everything like that, but unfortunately the news kind of broke just after my podcast was done with, so that kind of sucked. But Yeah, so wow, it is really crazy. Some guys just can't catch a break. In this world, even if you have all the talent in the world, sometimes things just don't work out for you. And I'm talking about Damien Sandow. I think he's really the one out of the whole group. Every other one of them in this group, I could say, fair enough, see you later. But Damien Sandow, I just can't justify a reason to let him go. So here's the thing with Sandow. He came in, obviously he's been around forever. He came in, 2006 era with, the little tag team there, had a small run back down to developmental, got fired, got rehired. So he's had a really roller coaster of a journey. And then he came back, was back in developmental again, and then finally debuted with the Damien Sandow character, which was, the intellectual savior, which I thought was a great gimmick, and I'm surprised that gimmick didn't go further. It's a gimmick that I think can't really go above mid-card status, but I don't think they ever really reached its full potential with it either. I think they really could have gone a lot further with it. Obviously they went with the Rhodes Scholars as well. I thought that was a pretty good tag team. I liked that tag team. So I thought that pairing was good. And I think the big mistake they ever made with Damien Sandow was giving him Money in the Bank and having him lose Money in the Bank. Huge mistake. Always going to be a huge mistake. Have him cash in and lose to Cena was just the nail in the coffin, wasn't it? I mean, I thought he was done from that, and I think they kind of wanted him to be done from that. I think they kind of gave him a small opportunity, but I don't think they ever really gave him the shot. I think, he must have had some detractors backstage. I think maybe Vince didn't like him. Maybe Vince didn't get the gimmick. Maybe Vince didn't like the gimmick. Maybe Vince didn't see money in him. Maybe other people didn't see money in him. I heard rumors that Triple H perhaps was more on board with Sandow. He's more of a Triple H project rather than a Vince project. I don't know. But, yeah, so Sandow just didn't seem to really break through, did he? And I don't think he ever really got a full chance to do it. The guy is so talented. I mean, we fast forward a little bit to when he was doing the Mizdow character, and that's a character that, he got over incredible. Everyone loved him. The crowd was just going crazy for him. Everything he was doing, all the antics, I loved it. He was one of my favorite characters going on. And that derived from a nearly 6 months of him dressing up every week as something stupid. And I think it was more of a rib to Damien Sandow. And then after a few months, people started to get on board with it and oh yeah, this is actually cool. People actually started getting behind him, and that's when they finally started to do something with it. So, the crowd really had to respond for the WWE to ever really do anything with him, and even then, the crowd was not enough to get him further. I mean, when he, got rid of The Miz, the crowd, when the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, the crowd was going absolutely ape shit for him. Still didn't help. They still had to give it to the fucking Big Show. And after that, he was done. Went to the Macho Mandow gimmick. I hated it. Did not like it at all. I thought it was stupid. I thought he could do so much better. It's just a gimmick that was not necessary. It's never going to go anywhere. He's imitating a legend, but why can't he just try and submit his own legacy? I think Sandow is such an entertaining character. The thing that I probably would criticize him with is I thought his in-ring work was alright. I don't really recall him having that many great matches on the main roster. He never had really any bad matches, but he never really had a great match. A match that I could say, wow, that was phenomenal, or, a memorable match that comes to mind. He definitely was, he's no slouch in the ring, but I think he was because of his size, he was quite a tall man, but towards the latter end, his body, shape started to kind of go away a little bit. He was getting a little bit more flabby. Any definition or tone to his body was really kind of falling away a little bit. So Sandow, I think, a little bit may have had himself to blame. Considering, look at his physique in the late, when he first came in that 2009, 2010 period as well, he was, pretty, in good shape. He was, looking pretty good. And then you look at him now in the last year or two, he's just, his physique kind of really fell away a little bit. And, that's not really such a detriment to him, but that's just something I noticed. So, I think Sandow could have been a great manager. Maybe not, take him away in the ring. I think you look at the Vaudevillains. I think Sandow could have been a perfect fit for that gimmick. Him as the I don't know, as the spokesperson for that group. Him, on the mic for them. It didn't have to be the ring. Those two guys could be the tag team. He could be their manager. That could have been really, really good. That would have been a great act. Sandow would have really risen that group from, the Vaudevillains to me are just okay. I don't really, not really care about them too much. But for me, Sandow would have taken that group to the next level. But for whatever reason, they just didn't find anything for him. For the last year or so, he's been off TV for the most part. A couple small little appearances. Recently, he had a few appearances because there was a few battle royals. That was about it. So it's just been a real disappointing. It's just such a waste. It's a really sad case, isn't it? Will he ever be back? I think he has a small chance of coming back, but I don't think, he's going to have to go away on the indies and really tear it up. Really tear it up and force them to have to re-sign him back. But I just don't think he can really do it. He's 36 years old right now. Might be too little too late for Sandow. Obviously, he had a lengthy run in the WWE, and hopefully he saved up his money a little bit. I know he's working with Global Force Wrestling right now, so that's a good pickup for GFW. I don't know if he's wrestling with them, because I would have thought he had a non-compete clause in his contract. Does that apply when they get released? It would, wouldn't it? I don't know. I don't know. But so I don't know if he's wrestling on that or if he's going to make an appearance. I don't know. But yeah, so I wish him the best. I think he'll travel around. Would he get picked up by Lucha Underground? I don't know. I mean, he has the ability to perform so many different characters. You never know. I think he could find a spot on that roster. Japan, I don't think so. TNA, I could see TNA making a play for him. I really could, but TNA is such a... I don't want him to go there, honestly, because TNA just has such a stain to it right now. It's a place that I wouldn't want to be. Ring of Honor, I could see him working some Ring of Honor shows. I definitely could. So I expect him to be around. I think he's going to be working a lot of indies. I think he spent the better part of the year probably just doing house shows and not really working TV or not really working at all. I think he's probably keen to get in there and prove the WWE wrong and do something different, I think. So I think we're going to see plenty of Damien Sandow still. So if you're a fan of these other promotions, you're certainly going to see Sandow. And plus, he's going to be a great attraction for promoters to pick up. So I think that's pretty exciting. I think that's exciting to have someone like Sandow on the independents. We'll run through everyone that got fired as well. Cameron, look, no talent. Got in through Tough Enough, became a dancer, tried to transition into the ring, but just couldn't do it. A very unlikable person. You look at her on Total Divas. I couldn't stand her. I hated her the most on that show in the first few seasons when she was on. She was unbearable. Unbearable. She just had a personality that you just couldn't stand her. Everything she was saying, the girl bye thing, the way she talked, it was just horrible. Honestly, horrible. And they try to transition her into the ring, and she's fucked up a few times, and the whole incident with her trying to, pinning Naomi, I think it was, the wrong way, and the whole Tough Enough thing as well. So many different things that fans have just kind of held on to forever, and, it doesn't matter what she could have done, she's never going to recover from that. And obviously it was very outspoken as well, and she's taken to social media a lot in the last few days and been very, very outspoken, which I don't know if it's a good thing for her or not, but at least it's got her name out there. She got a bit of publicity, which I think is probably what she was aiming for, really. She probably knew the writing was on the wall, and instead of walking away gracefully, she probably wanted to come out with a little bit of a bang and kind of say a few things and she'll probably try and get a shoot interview, I'm sure, and kind of speak about some of these issues. Which, by the way, a shoot interview for Damien Sandow, please. And please, Sandow, tell us why. Don't be like, I don't want him to be so political. I know he's a very nice guy and he probably won't burn bridges, but I want him to explain what the fuck happened. But yeah, I'm sure Cameron will do one as well, just to kind of keep her name out there. And, Cameron to me is just a woman who is using wrestling as a way to kind of further promote herself, whether it be acting, whether it be modeling, whatever. She's trying to use wrestling as a platform to further her career elsewhere. She didn't really seem as though she cared about the business, loved the business, not a fan of the business before she came in. So, did she improve? Yeah, she did. She definitely did, and she gave it, probably her best, but she just really offered nothing. And with so many great women on the roster right now, probably the best it's been in a long, long time, someone like Cameron just ain't going to cut it, and she needs to go. And get rid of her and sign an independent woman, tearing up on the indies, get her in there, and we can further strengthen the roster. So rather than, the model era, we've got a few there already, like the Bells are going now. Probably Eva Marie and Mandy are some of the only ones that you can kind of think about now that probably you could see, oh yeah, this is the models. But, we're starting to get a lot more wrestlers in the women's division, which I think is a good thing. Wade Barrett, honorary member of the shit list, a guy that I couldn't stand. I never liked him. There's a few I can't say that because there's a few periods of time during the Bad News Barrett gimmick, I kind of liked that a little bit. I was getting behind it and I was enjoying some of his work. Obviously, had an opportunity to be really something, in that main event tier through the Nexus and everything like that. The Nexus, we all know how that ended, and it was terrible the way that was all handled. But so Wade Barrett for me, I just couldn't get into him because, Wade Barrett would always get a push. He was a guy who was constantly receiving a push at most points, and he was tipped to be Money in the Bank winner a number of times, and working on top and working these high profile programs with a number of top guys, but he would just constantly get injured all the freaking time. Every time he had something going for himself, he was injured with a Bad News Barrett gimmick, got injured, he was out for the whole year. They came back, even the IC title, the first night he was back or something? They constantly always gave him these opportunities, and he never really hit it out of the park ever. He's an okay promo. In the ring, I can't recall one Wade Barrett match that I thought was good. And just so many opportunities, yet so many times he's failed. Even the League of Nations, we all know how terrible that is, or was. He was injured through majority of the time. They were a group, so he's just, 2 months on, 10 months off. He's made of glass, and he's a liability. He's getting up there in age. He's been in the company now for 6 years plus. He's not getting anywhere. This is the thing, we have so many guys in the company that have been around for 5 years, 10 years, and are not going anywhere. Look at someone like Jack Swagger. I'm surprised he survived the cuts, because he's a guy who's been around for 6+ years, 7 years, 8 years or whatever now, and hasn't done jack shit and for the last 3 years. Why do we need to keep this guy around? Why do you keep him on the payroll? I get it, we need some job guys, but really, you want to have that high of a contract for just a job guy? Bring in some local talent, for $200 for the night, and bring them in, So these guys that have been around, their use-by date has expired. They've done everything there is to do. You've tried everything. You can't get them over. The crowd's just not responding. They don't have it. Or their time has come and gone. I think Wade Barrett's a guy whose time has just come and gone. He worked on top and had a number of IC title reigns. Now his time has come and gone. There's new guys coming in to replace him. These are the type of guys who need to kind of, either walk away. Barrett always has been leaving for the last year, been wanting to leave, so that's fair enough. Good for him. And he just wanted to let his contract run out. That's good. But these other guys, they kind of need to get rid of them and bring in up all these guys from NXT. They've got a number of names that can keep coming through from NXT, and they have been. They're bringing up a lot of new people at NXT. Another one this week. So we keep the roster rotating, keep it fresh, and it's going to be a lot better. I don't know why we have to sign someone, and once they're signed, we never get rid of them ever. They're there for you. Once you get a WWE contract, you're guaranteed 5 years at this rate. Which is ridiculous. So if they haven't got it, get rid of them. Zeb Coulter, obviously Zeb, a veteran of the business, has been around forever, done it all. I think Zeb could have been used a lot better. But I think he's a guy his gimmick has been kind of played out. I think it's probably nearly time for him to hang up the boots. He's getting up there in age. Probably would have been better used as a backstage kind of role and kind of used as like a mentor or, in the booking committee or whatever. But, he can just go away and do the independent thing. He's had his time. And the Del Rio thing was just probably the last nail in the coffin for Zeb. That was such a flop. They probably thought, well, who can we really pair with him now? They probably didn't feel as though they had anyone else for him. So he can go away now and kind of just, work some indie shows. Or, who knows what he can do. He can just do another shoot interview. I'll watch that. I like his shoot interviews. I think he's a good talker. So, he's had his time and he can go hang out with Jim Cornette and do that kind of thing. So I think that's probably, that's a 50-50 one. That's probably him and Sandow, the only two that I would probably have kept. At least my next one, Alex Riley. Alex Riley, look, he had the world in his hands, didn't he? I mean, he had a great look, a lot of charisma, a bit of personality. When he was split away from The Miz, I really thought he could have been something. Really thought this guy could be, great. I don't know the full extent of the story with the whole him and Cena thing. A shoot interview with him, I think he'll be very bitter with it in a shoot interview, but that would be interesting to hear what kind of happened there, his perspective. But so Alex Riley. The problem with Alex Riley is it's just a guy who kind of refused to get any better. He had a lot of potential, but his in-ring work was never really good. And, he spent years in developmental, and it didn't really get any better. I know they tried to do the whole announcer thing for him, and I thought he was alright as announcer, not bad. And they had the pre-show analyst as well. They had a few different roles for him, but I guess, he wanted to be a wrestler. And that desire probably led him to be on his way out because, again, he's probably a guy who had his chance and his use-by date had expired in the ring. And he honestly, he probably should have just went the Corey Graves route, given up the wrestling and kept a job as an announcer. Maybe they didn't want him to be an announcer. Maybe, I don't know, but we'll find out. But, he could have been something, but he just didn't have the skills to really back it up in the end. And didn't really, and plus, he seems like he's got a really bad attitude. He's a guy who very vocal on social media, talking crap about other podcasts on social media. So it seems like he's a guy who the company just probably like, well, fuck this guy. He's saying all this bullshit. I'm sure he's got a bit of a bad rap backstage a little bit because of it. So they probably found this as an opportunity to kind of get rid of him, especially after his recent spat that he had on social media just a few days ago, a few days before his release. Hornswoggle should have been gone 5 years ago. The guy, obviously, he did a lot of things in the WWE. He had a pretty successful run, I guess, in the WWE. He was around and doing shit quite a lot. He was with Finley. Then he was Vince's illegitimate son, did the DX thing as well, and then eventually the anonymous Raw GM. I think he did the whole Carly and Natalia thing, which was terrible, but he did that. So he did a lot of things. He even had a match with El Torito, who is another guy who got fired. We'll talk about him in a second. So Hornswoggle, be lucky that you lasted that long, my friend. I heard he's a bit of a dickhead, a bit of an asshole backstage. If you believe what is his name? Brodus Clay or Tyrus, whatever the fuck. So if you believe him, apparently he's a bit of a dick. But he can. He's really no loss at all. Like, he's a guy that you can get rid of, and who is anyone going to notice? I mean, he hasn't been on TV in forever and offers nothing. Another guy, El Torito. Once they got rid of the Matador's gimmick, there's literally nothing left for him to do. If they brought him out without the suit on, people wouldn't know who the fuck he is. So, the gimmick's over. His purpose is run out, and good thing he's gone. Finally, introducing the Hall of Famer, the Brendan Plays Shit List Hall of Famer himself, Santino Marella. He is, without a doubt, he's the first inductee into the Brendan Plays Shit List Hall of Fame. This guy is the worst, my most hated wrestler perhaps ever, at least in the last 10 years. When I've been watching full time as a fan, this is the guy I have hated more than anyone else. Every time this guy comes on TV, I hear that fucking music, I change the channel. I go, oh, it changed the channel. I know he's been recently retired. He's done a few appearances here and there. So he's pretty much been gone now for a while, thank God. When I heard he was going to retire, I know that, obviously it was because of an injury, but, well, I'm not going to lie. I was smart. I was very happy that day. I had a great day that day. So, Santino Marella, goodbye. I will never miss you. I hope he doesn't ever come back. He's, I told the story on my stream, I was listening to the whole Jim Cornette shoot about the Boogeyman, his debut in OVW. If you haven't seen it, go on YouTube and look up Boogeyman debut in OVW. And the Boogeyman was like trying to be real scary and stuff, and they had all the training, trainees, the wrestling school trainees, these guys who were learning how to wrestle at the camp, and they had them all sitting in the crowd area near the exit. And the Boogeyman's trying to get to the exit, and everybody is like running away from the Boogeyman, all scared, except for Santino Marella, who's like sitting there laughing. This guy just sounds like a bit of a dickhead. That to me is another reason why it's just his character was so unbearable, and perhaps even his personality was tough to bear. So yeah, Santino, goodbye. But welcome. Look, hey, there's a bright side to you. You're in the first ever, the one and only person in my Shit List Hall of Fame. Congratulations. Congratulations. You've made it now. You have made it. So that's going to be it for the firings. That's everyone that's been gone, I believe. I don't think I missed anybody, but could they fire some more? Hell yeah, they could. Ascension, goodbye. Heath Slater, I know people say he's a great jobber. Been around for so long and going nowhere. Goodbye. Who else could we fire? Summer Rae. Goodbye. I mean, she's just offers nothing. Rosa Mendez, once the whole pregnancy thing boils over, goodbye. I would even fire like JoJo. She's a horrible, absolutely dreadful ring announcer. Oh, she's horrible. Eden Styles, I'm going to say though, this week on Raw, I really noticed her. She's really putting in some effort to get better. I mean, she did a pretty good job this week. She was, really kind of changing the way she was saying some names this week, and it worked. Give her props, but JoJo, she sucks. Lillian Garcia, she's alright. Still don't know why they got rid of Justin Roberts. He was great. The announcers since have not been good. And people might say this is me being sexist or something, feminists might, all three of the females that watch my videos will come out here in droves with pitchforks and try and, stab me. But I just think overall, men announcers are just better because obviously they have the more power and the voice to really kind of get across the name, and you can project it a lot better than most women. I was watching the UFC Fight Night the other day, where it was Alistair Overeem versus I don't know what his name was, but Bruce Buffer. Man, he's just got so much power. He's just incredible, isn't he? He's announcing. So, just an example of the power and just how much it pumps you up for a match. Like, wow, this is going to be like, this guy does so much to kind of get you hyped for a match. And I just feel like the WWE announcers right now, the ring announcers, just aren't doing that at all. And plus, the commentators aren't doing a much job to kind of sell the match when the match is on either. So, there's a common denominator there. It's just a domino effect, isn't it? But, so a few things like that they could really try and improve on. Alright, so now that we've rambled on a lot about the whole releases, we'll get into this week's Monday Night Raw. And really not a lot to really talk about this week. Probably the main piece of news, Dana Brooke debuting alongside Emma, pretty much continuing their little pairing that they had at NXT, bringing it up to the main roster, which I think is a good idea. I think I like that. It's a nice way to slowly transition Dana Brooke into the main roster, not throw her out there. And, you know, she can play off Ember, and, you know, she can be a manager for most weeks, and some weeks she'll wrestle and kind of be the bit of a muscle and someone to kind of stick against Becky Lynch and make the whole Becky Lynch situation a little bit more interesting. So I think it's a good thing. But, you know, they didn't really bring up that many women to the main roster, so I think it's probably a smart thing to bring somebody up there. I'm a little surprised it's Dana Brooke, to be honest with you. But, well, you know, that's just the way WWE does it. I mean, everyone's wanting Bayley, but we're not going to give you Bayley, but we'll give you Dana Brooke. Isn't that a great replacement? But honestly, I have no real issue with it. I think it's a nice little pairing that they've got going on there. This week we had the Club versus the Family. So, you know, AJ and the Gallows and Anderson versus the Usos and Roman Reigns. It's I think it's just really strange. It was an elimination tag match as well. They're giving away a big match like this on Raw, and it didn't really have. It wasn't really that great, anyways. This week we had a lot of really distraction finishes, didn't we? A lot of distraction pinfalls and whatnot. So I thought this week's Raw overall was pretty poor, considering the rules that they've had recently. I think this one a little lackluster. Again, I don't think I saw Apollo Crews again on Raw this week. Was I daydreaming? Did I fall asleep again? I don't know, but so that's a little worrying that he's not really getting a full-time spot on Raw. Baron Corbin seems to be getting that, but they haven't really done that yet with Apollo, so that's a little worrying. But yeah, so giving away some big matches on Raw. I mean, they could have done that at a pay-per-view in the future, you know, built to that, but they give it away on Raw. So that's something that they do a lot, though, isn't it? We had Baron Corbin and Ziggler again this week on Raw, so it's another instance where they're kind of giving away that on an episode of Raw instead of kind of just leading, you know, kind of doing tag team matches or kind of having the two brawl or whatever without having to directly verse each other. Now you kind of give away a pay-per-view match on Raw, and I'm sure they'll have another pay-per-view match. I'm sure they will, but it feels as though you kind of given the payoff a little early, and now, well, what's the point kind of situation. But they do that, and it's annoying, and it kind of ruins some storylines. This week, Big Cass got a lot of airtime, similar to last week, but this week worked the main event. Main event didn't happen in the end, but yeah, got a lot of time. You know, came out, he did the opening segment with Jericho as well. So, well, I guess they have some high hopes for Big Cass, even though Enzo's gone. They could have quite easily just taken him off TV and waited for Enzo to come back healthy. But they're doing the singles thing, having him, I'm dedicating this to Enzo and keeping that brand out there, keeping the catchphrase going. So they really have some high hopes, at least it seems to me, for the tag team and for Big Cass. Let's say, for example, Big Cass gets injured. Does Enzo do the rounds and come out and work the main events every week? Fuck no. Hell no. Hell no. He ain't going anywhere near the main event. Because it's Big Cass, he's 7 foot tall. Actually, he's only 6'9". He looks a very small 7 foot tall. He's nowhere near 7 feet tall. So if he needs to never match up against like the Big Show or Braun Strowman, anyone like that, because he will be dwarfed. He matches up with the Big Show, who's probably lost an inch or two over the years. Still, he will look like a small man. So he needs to kind of stay away from them and keep working smaller guys like a Jericho. So, yeah, I think Colin Cassidy getting a bit of momentum there, and the crowd not really behind it. They're kind of behind the catchphrase more so than him. Not a great reaction, but obviously he's only been on Raw for less than a month now, or just over a month or whatever. So there's still plenty of time for him to develop and grow there, and I think there's a lot of potential that tag team. So they're getting him some airtime, which I think is a good thing. And finally, we've kind of got the Fatal 4-Way now, pretty much done and dusted and confirmed for Payback. Zayn, Cesaro, Miz, and Owens. I think that should be a good matchup. I think that might be my predicted match of the night. I feel like Styles and Reigns will be too overbooked again to be a match of the night. But I think we want to see that Fatal 4-Way really impress. You know, even though the Miz is in there, you could probably argue, the Miz sucks or whatever. But I think the Miz could play a nice little heel role I even see The Miz sneaking away with the belt again as well. Obviously Owens and Zayn will be too busy with one another. Cesaro might, get taken out or something, distracted by Maurice or something and get pinned by The Miz or something like that. But I think that should be a good matchup at Extreme Rules. It has a few decent matches already. Obviously kind of feels like very similar to Payback, and Extreme Rules isn't that far away. So, so definitely a lot to like there and a lot to look forward to for Extreme Rules. And that's really all there is to say about this week's Raw. Like I said, I didn't really have much to talk about, but I do have plenty to talk about this week because a lot of gaming stuff went down this week. We had the reveal of Battlefield 1, which I'm refusing to call it Battlefield 1. I'm going to call it Battlefield 5. I don't care what they wanted me to call it. I'm calling it Battlefield 5. The Call of Duty Infinite Warfare drama that's been going down with the whole trailer being one of the most disliked videos of all time, and now Call of Duty Remastered, Call of Duty 4 Remastered is actually going to be included. So we'll cover that, and also Uncharted 4 just released today as well. So we'll start with Uncharted 4. A lot of people want to know, do I like Uncharted? Yes, I played every single Uncharted game, even the one on the Vita. Haven't finished the one on the Vita yet. I'm very close. I think I nearly got there. When I didn't have internet for a week or two, whatever it was, I did play a lot of the Vita. I nearly finished that game there. Uncharted 1, 2 and 3 I finished 2 times each. I have the platinum on each of the games. I love the games so much. Uncharted 2 being my favorite in the series, I thought that was just perfect. A brilliant game. Uncharted 3, I think, was really, really good, but I just feel like, I don't know, I think maybe Uncharted 2 will, for me, always be better than it. Uncharted 1 was very good, but obviously, the sequels have been way, way better, way superior in every way. The multiplayer I could do away with. I haven't really played too much of the multiplayer on it, but it's a nice little extra addition. And it's something more for you to do. Like, people complain, oh man, why would I get this game? It's not, just a 16... I think Uncharted 4 was like, a 15, 16-hour campaign. It's like, well, what's the point in getting that? I read this comment, like, what's the point of getting that when I can get an RPG, which is like 100 hours of gameplay? Yeah, but, RPG is like 100 hours of gameplay stretched across like, really 10 hours of good core main storyline, and the rest of it just kind of side stuff. Whereas Uncharted 4 is like 15 hours of intense gameplay. I mean, Uncharted 4, unfortunately, obviously, I have a busy schedule. I'm going to have to wait until my exams are done and dusted. I would have liked to have streamed the game. Everyone's going to be streaming it, obviously. But I would have liked to have played it at least and finished the game and maybe get the platinum soon. But I'm going to have to wait until my assignments are all in. But I cannot wait. It's going to be really, really good. I know Doom 4 is coming out sometime, in a few days, sometime this week. So I think it's on the 13th here in Australia. I don't know about the US, but yeah. So that's I played the beta of Doom 4. I just don't know if I'm going to get that. I know Battleborn came out. The reviews seem pretty lackluster. I mean, it seems like it's an alright game. Bit of a bargain bin style of game. I know Ratchet and Clank came out a month ago. I kind of want to get that as well, probably on a reduced price. And Overwatch, I haven't really looked at anything to do with that, so I don't really care at all about Overwatch. But so that's a few games coming out. I know Homefront, is it Homefront 2? I think so. Homefront 2 coming out this month at some point. I'm definitely getting that. That game looks really, really good. I really hope that's great. I really, really enjoyed Homefront 1. Really did. But I think this is a little bit different style. It's not quite a online multiplayer, FPS multiplayer. So I'm not quite sure how I'll react to that. But I'm still definitely getting it. And then after that, I have no idea. But plenty of good games coming out. We kind of had to wait a little bit. It's been like a couple of months. I mean, obviously, February, March are generally some pretty good months. April, gets a couple good games here and there. And then around about this time, normally we get some damn good stuff coming out. So this is a very, very exciting period. But obviously, the main exciting period is in October and November when Battlefield 1, aka Battlefield 5, and Call of Duty Infinite Warfare coming out. And obviously, if you don't know, those are my two of my favorite series. I've always been a COD guy. MW2, my favorite COD game of all time, my favorite shooter of all time. Black Ops 1, probably my second favorite. Then after that, every other COD, whatever. COD 4, though, is a game that I never played in its prime. I've only played 3 online games of COD 4 in my life, because obviously it's all hacked now. And also the fact that I'm Australian, so there's really no one playing the game at all. Just can't play it. Just cannot play it. I wish I probably had gone back when I had MW2 and had gone back and played COD 4 and World at War then, but I never did. And I do regret that. I would have liked to have done that. But I think I loved MW2 so much, I just didn't want to play the other ones. And plus, they were always like $50 for like the new one, like for the old games. I'm like, wow, that's just ridiculous. Like $50, $60, $70 for the old games. And, just give me a break. So I never did that. And I didn't have any money back then. I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything. So I just kind of had to, wait for birthdays and Christmases to kind of get games. So I wanted to get new games, not old games by then. So those games are, the COD games will always have a special place in my heart. So much fun I've had on that. So many hours I've had on that. But obviously, I haven't played too much of Black Ops 3. I played it for a fair bit when it came out, and I kind of lost my way on it. I don't really care for it now. I played a lot of zombies recently on it. I kind of got into the zombies game mode, so that's pretty decent. I got my money's worth from it there. Advanced Warfare, I hated it. COD Ghost was okay. Black Ops 2 was alright. MW3, I hated it. So, yeah, so we'll see how Infinite Warfare goes, but I don't think I'm going to really get into it. I'm really probably just going to buy it to play COD 4, the remastered version, which I think is going to be just awesome. I just hope they don't fuck around with it too much. When they do remastered maps, look at Terminal Remastered, they change so much to it. And it just doesn't feel the same. It doesn't play the same. Scrapyard, when they remastered Scrapyard, it was horrible. It just doesn't play the same. It doesn't feel the same. So just keep it the fucking way that every map was on the old game. Just update the graphics of it on the new one and keep everything the same. And let's play that, because that's what we want to play. We don't want to play, well, I think we should fix this wall and take this out and add an extra door in this building. We don't want to do any of that. Just kind of keep it the same. So that really depends, how well that game is going to go. Are they going to just straight up, look, let's just remaster it. Let's keep it the way as it was, but, update it. Or are they going to actually mess around with it and change things? That remains to be seen. I wouldn't mind them patching some of the things. I think you can get 3 grenades or whatever. That's got to go. So, yes, patch a few issues that the community wants. Like maybe have a community poll. What are the things you would like to see patched? Do that, but don't try and, mess around with too much. But even then, like Call of Duty 4, as much as that's going to be great, Battlefield 5, oh my god. This trailer just looked absolutely sensational. Like, I watched that trailer and went, holy shit, I need that game. I need that in my life. I love Battlefield. I played Battlefield Hardline, which majority of people say sucked. People say, I hated Battlefield Hardline. For me, Battlefield Hardline was one of the most fun probably some of the most fun I've ever had gaming. It was incredible. Incredible. The gameplay itself, obviously missing so many components. Yes, could have had more guns. Yes, blah, blah, blah. More all this and this that Battlefield 4 has. But I love the game modes. I loved Heist. I love Bank Job. Not Bank Job. I love Blood Money. I love the maps. Bank Job. The Block. There are a few of my favorites. And obviously as well, I had a full party of people from my forums. We'd always come on and play with each other. And that was a lot of fun. So maybe that's another reason why I like that so much, because I had so many people to play with, and that's probably a big factor, yes. But I still think the core gameplay itself I had a lot of fun with, and I will always like that. Battlefield 4 had such a bad launch that it kind of turned me off the game a little bit. I did go back and play a fair bit of it, but I wish I played more. I really do. That game was really, 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 really good. There was a period of time where I found like a few servers that I just had so much fun with, and it felt like, I don't know if you guys played MAG, but like I found a few servers where it's just chaos. There's so many people, and it was a bit of a throwback to MAG for me, and I love MAG. So yeah, there was just some great, great times in Battlefield 4. I wish I had played more of it. Battlefield 3 as well. loved it. Loved it. Bad Company 2, really, really good. Another game I wish I had played more of as well. So, yeah, so Battlefield, my first Battlefield was Bad Company 2, and I've played the rest since, has a strong place in my heart as well. So, I think this might be the year Battlefield finally takes over. So much hype around Battlefield 5 now, compared to Infinite Warfare. So, they're winning the promotion, which has generally always been something COD's done better than Battlefield. People always complain the maps are too big in Battlefield, but there's more people. You can play, if you play some of the smaller game modes, the gameplay is fine. I mean, on Hardline, it was pretty damn fast. I think it's the right pace. I think COD, especially some of the new ones, have been too fast. Whereas I think Battlefield, for me, gets the pacing right. You spawn. The only probably thing is you spawn and you have to kind of run for 15, 20 seconds to get into the action. But it kind of gives you time to prepare, whereas COD, you spawn, you can walk 3 centimeters and there's someone right there. That's how crazy it can get sometimes. So I kind of like Battlefield, and I think maybe it suits my style of play a lot more. But the World at War One thing, I should say, I've never really been a big fan of going back in the past. I've always kind of been I don't mind the present day, but a lot of the games that are a bit of a throwback are really cool as well. I've never been a fan of sci-fi or futuristic movies or anything like that, TV shows. So futuristic games to me don't really appeal to me either. So it's either kind of like a throwback or a current day thing that I definitely like. So World War One is it's a war that I feel like hasn't been explored much in recent times in games. So I think this is a great opportunity for them to really do something good. They've kind of done the World War II a little bit to death. Yes, you could do another game now and thrive, but there has been a lot of World War II. So going to World War One, I think it's an alternative World War One. So they're probably going to add in stuff that wasn't even there. I think it's going to be really, really cool, really cool. So Battlefield 1, Battlefield 5, whatever you want to call it, gets a huge thumbs up from me. That's my most anticipated shooter of the year. My most anticipated game coming out later in the year. Cannot wait. I tell you what, when I get those two games, when I'm going to be streaming many hours every day. Hopefully I can get people on the forums that I talk to, or fans, anyone to come along and play. We can chat, get on the party, and play, and just I cannot wait. It's going to be a lot of fun times ahead on that game. That's going to do the gaming talk. We're going to head on to the fan questions now for this week, and we're going to wrap the show up.
Hey, Bren, this is Alex from Los Angeles, California, and I was wondering, who are you most looking forward to being in the WWE 2K17 game? And also, what was your favorite match from your recent SummerSlam pay-per-view? Keep up the good work and loving your videos, man.
This might surprise some, but I think AJ Styles might be really fun to play as in 2K17. I get the feeling he's going to have a really, really good moveset. Nakamura as well could be a lot of fun to play as, so that might be my two favorite there. My favorite match from my recent SummerSlam pay-per-view, it might have to be Punk versus Owens, but obviously the drama that happened with Ziggler and Rollins was such a, the finally getting the title win and everything like that. I think the story was much better on that match, but I think the gameplay itself was better on Owens and Punk. But yeah, take your pick. One of those were really, really good. And yeah, so thank you for your question. Some more questions now. This one comes from Stanley on Joko. Brendan, have you ever thought of having a second commentator along with you for pay-per-views? I think you need a color guy because of how you always have to run everything down. I imagine it must be difficult for you to juggle the play-by-play and the storyline. Well, no, I think commentary for me is very easy to do. I have no issues at all doing the both. I think I can do both quite fine. I'm happy to do both. The problem with a second commentator is, for me, I feel like it needs to be sitting next to me to do it. We did it over online. There could be some latency. There could be some issues, and you have, you're trying to kind of splice two audios together just be a nightmare. So I don't feel like it could really work, and I don't really want to even try it because I like to work on my own schedule. I like to work for myself. I don't want to have to rely on anybody. I've tried to rely on people to do pre-shows and whatever in the past, and it just hasn't worked out at all. So I hate having to work with anyone. I just like to do it all myself. If you don't like hearing my voice for the whole show, well, fair enough. But I get your point. Like, a color would be great, and we could play off each other. It'd be really, really good. But one, there isn't someone that I know that is really good, that is interested in doing it, and two, doing it online and trying to force it, just I don't want to even try. I just feel like it would not be very, very good. So, if we could maybe, found someone who was interested and, could come sit next to me and do it, and fair enough. But until then, yeah, we're not going to have that. Next question comes from 37 Will Dog. Do you ever think you will make merchandise for your Universe mode? It would be really cool to see some unique merch for people who have been successful in Universe mode. I've never actually thought of this ever, honestly, but I feel like there could be some copyright issues and, whatever, because, you're using, if let's say I'm going to make a shirt for Kevin Owens, you're using, his name and his likeness and whatever, so there could be some legal issues there. But no, I've never really thought of doing specific Universe mode merchandise, but I'm always open to merchandise ideas. So if ever come along an idea that I think could work, then definitely I will, without a doubt, give it a shot. This next one comes from Road Boy. Do you think pairing Ryback with Dolph Ziggler after they got fired and rehired by the Authority in January 2014 would have kept him over as a babyface? Possible. I think, a pairing may have worked, but I think, the whole firing, rehiring thing was just killed so much momentum that Dolph certainly had, and even Ryback. So, just that whole situation was a bad idea, and even having them as a tag team, I don't think could have really salvaged anything for them. I think singles for Ryback was always the way to go, and for Dolph, but they just had to kind of push the guys, and they never really just did that. Another one from Road Boy. Which member of the Social Outcasts would I push? The only one I could see doing well would be Bo Dallas. Dolph Ziggler at this rate could be in the Social Outcast soon. But Bo Dallas, obviously with the Bo Leave thing, I always thought there's some value in that, and they could have explored that a little bit more. Whereas Heath Slater has just been dead in the water for years. Adam Rose looks horrible and is horrible and probably on his way out of the company anyways. And Curtis Axel, well, he just has no charisma, no ability to really do anything. So, and do we want to count Victor in there as well? I mean, he just has nothing either. So, for me, Bo Dallas, with the gimmick that he had and the fact that he's so young, I mean, still in his early 20s, he could really do something, whereas the other three, well, they've really got little to no value left in them, I would definitely say. This next one comes from Caleb Allen. Do I have any plans for Raw 300? I'm guessing for my Universe mode. I don't even know when that's coming up. I have actually no idea. I haven't counted up the episodes, so no plans at all at this stage. Maybe I'll do an old school Raw or something like that if I do, figure out when it is. It's probably obviously pretty soon, I'm guessing, so nothing at this stage. This one's from Brett Denley. How long would you wait until you bring Nakamura to the main roster? Well, obviously with a huge influx of superstars now, you don't want to bring him in anytime soon, but he maybe after WrestleMania next year, I wouldn't mind seeing him kind of tear it up down in NXT and be one of the franchise players in that brand, and let him have that experience in the WWE of being a top player in that brand, and let the WWE be able to see him in that role and develop in that role. That way, they have the confidence when he does step up to the main roster that he can fulfill a role like that on the main roster. So I would probably bring him up after WrestleMania next year. All right, so another one here from Brett Denley. WWE Network having a special in Hawaii. One of the big matches is Nakamura versus Cena. Would you have Nakamura go over to build momentum like Kevin Owens did versus John Cena at Elimination Chamber? Well, absolutely not. I mean, at the moment, if Nakamura obviously is going to the main roster and they want to use Cena to bring him to the main roster, sure. But unless he's going to the main roster, no, you don't want to have him beat the top guy in the company, even when, especially now that Cena's just coming back. So they want to have Cena be even stronger than normal and have him kind of build momentum. And Nakamura and Cena is just more of a way to kind of, I guess, build a card. And I think they're even thinking about doing that as a network special as well. So more of a way to kind of sell tickets and kind of be a big network show and put on a great match. I think at the end of the day, Cena beating Nakamura won't hurt Nakamura, but Obviously, Nakamura beating Cena won't hurt Cena, but it'll certainly be great for Nakamura. But I can't see an NXT guy beating Cena. This one comes from Eisen Columbus. Does Sandow and Barrett deserve to be released? Do they deserve to be released? And what are their best moments? Probably my favorite moment for Sandow was, I gotta say, the stunt double stuff. I think that was really gold. That was really, really good. And I liked him with the Road Skulls as well as the tag teams. And I liked his intellectual saving the masses gimmick. I thought it was good. But definitely the stunt double stuff was just gold. Barrett, I guess him as Bad News Barrett would probably be the only moment I'd say would be memorable. From Thomas Speller, do you think WWE needs to fire Michael Cole or just give him time off so he can find his passion for the business again? I think you're right. I think I would give him time off. I would give him a rest for a while because we've heard his voice every week, same time, on multiple shows every year. It's too much. And I think that he's obviously a hard worker. Give him 6 months off. Let him go away. Let someone step in. And, I think refreshing the voice of the WWE is a good thing. I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I think probably he feels as though if he steps away, he'll lose his spot to Mauro Ranallo, and it probably will, because, Mauro Ranallo is leaps and bounds ahead of Cole. But, I think Michael Cole is a decent commentator. I know he's been getting a lot of shit lately because he's been calling moves wrong. My stance on that is I don't really care. I don't really care if you get a move wrong because it's just a mistake. People make mistakes. You see that he corrected that this week. He got it right this week. That's all I asked for him. I know what it's like. I'm obviously on a lesser extent, but I'm commentating on matches as well. I don't know every fucking move name. I wish I did, but I don't. And I get moves wrong all the time. So it's just a human error. Sometimes things look like what you see, and it look like, sometimes a move looks like something else, and you kind of get it mixed up, and it's just. It happens. It happens. People make mistakes. The only thing I ask for that is if you don't make it again. So you make a mistake, you get called out on it, fix it. And he did this week. So, but again, Michael Cole, it feels like, yes, he hasn't got as much interest in his commentary, that he may have did 10 years ago. So I think definitely he could use some time off. Let him go home to his family and just relax. Finally today, it comes from Mark Georgiev. Do you think one day we'll have a rivalry between Brock Lesnar and AJ Styles? No, I don't think so. I think Brock Lesnar and AJ Styles is too much of a mismatch. AJ would look minuscule compared to Brock. But it probably would be a good match, but AJ would just get destroyed, so yeah. Alright guys, that will do it for this week's edition of Let's Talk Tuesdays podcast. If you did enjoy it, please remember to leave a like on this video or subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. Make sure you follow us over on Spreaker and you continue to download the shows through iTunes or wherever and continue to support and spread awareness about the show. I really appreciate everyone that continues to support the show. You guys are great, and I apologize for all the downtime we've had with the forums. I'm hoping you guys like the new changes, and I'm hoping that some of you that haven't been on the forums before ever or not recently might go on there and give it another try. A busy day for me, and some different things coming, and a very busy couple of weeks ahead, so we'll see how we go. And I enjoyed this week's show. We had a lot of different discussion this week, so I hope you guys enjoyed this week's show, and I'll see you next Tuesday.